What if I told you that the thing you are crying about right now, the rejection, the loss, the closed door, the diagnosis, the betrayal, the friend who walked away when you needed them most, was never a mistake? What if I told you that God has never, not for a single second, looked away from your life? Not when you were left alone, not when you lost everything you worked for, not when the marriage you prayed for fell apart, not when you sat in your car in the dark, crying until there were no more tears left to cry. He did not make a mistake then. He is not making a mistake now. And by the time this meditation ends, you are going to understand something that will change the way you see your entire story. Your pain has a purpose, your waiting has a worth, and everything, every single thing is being woven together for a reason you may not see yet, but you will. So take a breath, let your shoulders drop, let your jaw unclench, and let's walk together into a truth that has carried millions of broken, weary, doubting people through their darkest nights. There is a verse tucked into the book of Romans that has held more souls together than any other in Scripture. It says that all things work together for good, for those who love God, for those who are called according to His purpose. Not some things, not the easy things, not the things that make sense to you right now. All things, the diagnosis, the divorce, the bankruptcy, the miscarriage, the years you spent feeling invisible. All of it, somehow, in the hands of a God who sees the end from the beginning, is being turned into something good. You may be sitting there right now thinking, how could anything good come from what I have been through? How could a good God allow this much pain into one life? I understand that question. It is not a sign of weak faith to ask it. Even the most faithful people in Scripture asked it. Job lost his children, his health, and everything he owned in a single day, and he asked God why. David, a man after God's own heart, wrote entire psalms soaked in confusion and grief, begging God to explain himself. Even Jesus, in the garden the night before his death, asked his Father if there was another way. Asking why does not mean you have lost your faith. It means you are human and you are honest before God. But here is what is remarkable. Every single one of those people, Job, David, even Jesus, came through their darkest hour and discovered that God had been working the entire time. Even in the silence, even when it felt like heaven had gone quiet. Job's story did not end in ashes. It ended in restoration beyond anything he had before. David's Psalms of despair always turn a corner into praise. And Jesus walked out of that garden, through the cross, into a resurrection that changed history forever. The pattern is the same every time. The pain is real. The confusion is real, but it is never the end of the story. Think about Joseph for a moment. A boy sold into slavery by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, ripped from his father, sold like property to strangers in a foreign land. If you had told 17-year-old Joseph, sitting in that pit, that one day he would stand before the most powerful man in Egypt and save his entire family from starvation, he would not have believed you. From his perspective, in that moment, his life was over. His dreams were buried. His future was stolen. But God was not absent in that pit. God was not absent in that prison cell where Joseph spent years for a crime he did not commit. God was quietly, patiently positioning him. Every betrayal, every wrongful accusation, every delay was part of a path Joseph could not see while he was walking it, but could only understand once he looked back on it. Years later, when Joseph finally stood face to face with the brothers who had betrayed him, he said something that should stop you in your tracks. He told them, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." The very same event, the very same pain, two completely different purposes happening at the same time. Man's intention to destroy him and God's intention to use it to save an entire nation. Maybe that is exactly where you are right now. Someone hurt you on purpose. Someone walked away when you needed them. Something was taken from you that you did not deserve to lose. And it feels like the story ends there, in the pit, in the betrayal, in the loss. But what if, like Joseph, you are simply standing in the middle of a chapter you have not finished reading yet? What if the very thing that broke you is the very thing God is going to use to build something in you and through you that you cannot yet imagine? There is a reason Scripture so often compares faith to a seed. A seed has to be buried, completely covered in darkness, seemingly destroyed before it can ever become anything. If you dug up a seed 3 days after planting it and said, "This isn't working, nothing is happening, this was a mistake," you would never see what it was capable of becoming. The darkness is not the absence of growth. The darkness is where the growth begins. Your waiting room is not empty space, it is the soil. And what feels like burial right now, the silence, the unanswered prayers, the season where nothing seems to be moving, is the very environment God uses to grow something in you that sunlight and comfort never could. I want you to think about your own life for a moment. Think about a closed door that broke your heart at the time. A relationship that ended, a job you didn't get, a plan that fell apart right when you thought it was finally coming together. Now think about where you are today, looking back. Is it possible, even just possible, that if that door had stayed open, you would have missed something better? Is it possible that the heartbreak you could not understand at the time was actually protection in disguise? Most of us, if we are honest, can look back at our own history and find at least one moment where we now thank God for closing a door we begged Him to keep open. That is not coincidence. That is a pattern. And if it has happened once in your life, it can happen again with whatever you are facing right now. This does not mean pain does not matter. It does not mean you should pretend you are not hurting or rush past grief like it is something to be ashamed of. God is not asking you to fake peace. He is inviting you into a deeper kind of trust, the kind that says, "I do not understand this. I do not like this, but I believe you are still good, and I believe you are still working, even here, even now, even in this." That kind of trust is not weakness. It is the strongest thing a human heart can offer to God. There is a promise in Jeremiah that God speaks directly into the exile of His people, into a season where everything looked hopeless, where they had lost their homeland and their freedom. He tells them that He knows the plans He has for them. Plans for peace and not for harm. Plans to give them a future and a hope. He said this to people in captivity. People who had every reason to believe God had abandoned them. And yet He tells them, "I have not forgotten you. I am not finished with you. There is a future ahead of you that you cannot see from where you are standing right now." That promise was not just for them. It is for you today, wherever you are listening to this from. Maybe you are driving. Maybe you are lying in bed unable to sleep because your mind will not stop racing. Maybe you are sitting somewhere quiet, finally giving yourself permission to feel everything you have been holding together for everyone else. Wherever you are, hear this clearly. God has not forgotten you. He has not lost track of your life. He saw this season coming before you were even born, and He has already prepared a way through it. I want you to consider something else. So often we measure whether God is working by whether our circumstances have changed yet. But circumstances are usually the last thing to change. The first thing God changes is you. The way you see things, the way you carry things, the strength you didn't know you had until you needed it, the compassion you now have for other people in pain because you have walked through your own fire, the faith that is no longer based on what you have been told, but on what you have personally lived through and survived. That transformation in you is not a side effect of your pain. It is the point. It is what God is producing in you right now in this very season, whether or not you can feel it happening. There is a kind of peace that does not wait for the storm to end. It is the peace that walks through the storm with you, hand in hand, refusing to let go. That is the peace being offered to you right now. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of God within the struggle. Not a guarantee that everything will be easy, but a promise that you will never walk through it alone, and that nothing is wasted in His hands. So if you are carrying something heavy today, I want you to do something simple. Speak honestly to God. Tell Him exactly what you are feeling, the anger, the confusion, the exhaustion, the doubt. He already knows it. He is not waiting for you to perform faith you do not feel. He is waiting for you to be honest and to keep walking anyway. Tell Him, I do not understand this, but I trust you. I cannot see the reason yet, but I believe you are still writing my story and you do not make mistakes. Let this truth settle into your spirit now. Every delay you have endured was not God forgetting you. Every door that closed was not God punishing you. Every season of silence was not God abandoning you. He was working in ways you could not see, preparing things you could not yet imagine, protecting you from things you will never even know you were spared from. Your story is not over. Your pit is not your permanent address. Your winter is not your final season. There is a spring coming, and everything you are walking through right now is part of how God is preparing you for it. If this meditation brought you any peace today, any comfort, any reminder that you are not alone in what you are carrying, stay a moment longer. Let it sink in. Let your heart receive it, not just your ears. And if you know someone who needs to hear these words today, someone who is questioning whether God still sees them, share this with them. They may need this reminder more than you know. And if you want more moments like this one, consider staying connected here, because this is only the beginning of the peace God has for you. Close your eyes if you can. Breathe in slowly. And say this quietly in your heart. God, I do not understand everything I am walking through, but I trust that you see what I cannot see. I believe you are working even now, even in the silence, even in the waiting. I believe you do not make mistakes, and I believe my story is still being written by your hand. Thank you for never leaving me, even when I felt alone. Thank you for working all things together for my good, even the things that hurt the most. I receive your peace right now, in this moment, and I choose to trust you with what comes next. Carry this peace with you as you go back into your day. Whatever you are facing, you are not facing it alone, and you are not facing it by accident. God saw this moment coming, and He has already gone ahead of you into it. Trust Him. Rest in Him, and remember, He does not make mistakes, and neither does the story He is writing through your life. Before you go, if these words spoke to your heart today, please take just a moment to like this video. It helps this message of hope reach someone else who needs to hear it. And if you want to keep walking through these moments of peace and faith together, subscribe to this channel so you never miss the next one. Your support means more than you know, and it helps this message reach more hearts that need it. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and I will see you in the next one.